Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Season 8. Season 9. What was with me? Episode 29, DJI status in the USA, July 22nd, 2025. Hope everyone's doing well. This chair needs to get replaced. I need to hit the lottery so I can replace this chair. The pneumatic arm, if you will, okay? It's extremely dysfunctional, okay? Extremely dysfunctional. But anyway, got a good crew in here tonight. Ron's going to join us here in just a little bit. Drone Shots, Jody, Giggles FPV, Akarasha Warren, CT Pirate. Who else we got? John Flynn, welcome, John. Waypoint New England, welcome. And thank you for getting into my ham radio episode 2, Waypoint New England. Appreciate that. See who else we got. Richard is here. MHM Photography is here. Okay, all right. And Michael Wright's here. Welcome. All right. Got a good crew here tonight. First of all, okay, I would be remiss not to tell you it's Happy Matthew Tkachuk Day. 3 years ago, the Panthers made the biggest trade in their team history and brought Matthew Tkachuk to the Panthers for one of their star players, Jonathan Huberdeau, and the rest is kind of history, as they say. So, all right. And Bill Thomas, welcome. Good to see you too, my friend. Got some things to talk about tonight. Of course, you know what the main topic is. I did have a guest lined up, but unfortunately, that guest was not available tonight. We may get the guest back next week, so keep your fingers crossed on that. It's a good guest, very knowledgeable, and we're on what we're going to be talking about tonight. So, and there has been some updates and some developments and things. So we're gonna jump on that. One of the things right now is, hey, Art, welcome. If any of you live in Florida, you know what I'm about to tell you is true. Right now, the way the heat is during the day, they advise you between noon and 6 p.m. stay inside. Do not even go outside at all. The heat index has gone from anywhere from 107 degrees in some parts of Florida to 110 degrees. And they're not talking people with infirmities or elderly, okay? They're talking healthy, normal people. Stay inside, okay? And that's exactly what it's been like. It's been brutal outside. I mean, 9:30 in the morning, okay? Or 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, 85 degrees. 9:30, it's already 90 degrees. Yeah. And I make my Starbucks run on the weekend. And 9 o'clock, 85, 90 degrees. Yeah. It's the time you just go from your air-conditioned car to your air-conditioned house or a place of employment and wash, rinse, repeat. That's kind of like what it is there. Oh, okay. That's real good. That's real good. That's a good question, Jim. That's a real good question. I absolutely can't answer that. I really can't. I wish I could. So, but we're gonna get started here. One of the things that let me go ahead. I want to kind of do this. Okay, I kind of changed my mind. We're going to start with here. All right. And a lot of people have talked about it. I'm not sure if Ron and Marcus and DeMarco talked about this last night. Was Insta360 strikes back. Surprisingly, anti-gravity drone leak shows it's planning to take on DJI in the sky. Of course, that's an Insta360 on top of a probably I don't know what. But down here, let's go ahead and scroll to that. I thought there was an image of that here. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, from Igor, and right here is the image of what looks like purportedly a Insta360. It's called Project Anti-Gravity. Okay, what a name there. But looks like they're in the works here. Okay. Both models are wrapped to hide their designs, but the wrapping on the larger model clearly says anti-gravity. Is this the name of the Insta360 drone range or just a code name for the in-development drones? We'll have to wait a while to find out. We'll also have to wait and see what features and specifications the two Insta360 drones might offer. The smaller of the two offers no visible clues whatsoever in its shape or design, but the larger folding model appears to have an upward-facing fisheye lens on top. We'll assume there's a similar lens arrangement facing downwards on the bottom here. It's instantly reminded me of the Insta360 Sphere, the almost forgotten 2022 released drone camera designed to be mounted on the Air 2S or the Mavic Air 2. Featuring both up and downward facing ultra-wide cameras, the Sphere worked in much the same way as Insta360's action cameras, like the X5, recording two separate videos. It would seamlessly join them together and remove all traces of the drone into a single 360 video that could be edited and reframed later. Okay. Despite its thorny relationship with the U.S. government, DJI is currently head and shoulders above its drone competitors, offering the biggest and best drones for consumers. For Insta360 to grab a share of this pie, the company might have to release something slightly different, and those new drones just might represent a shift from what we've seen so far. What would you hope to see from Insta360's first camera drones? Let us know in the comments below. That's a very interesting development. And we'll get there in a minute with the main topic of the evening, but obviously, Insta360, I assume, I don't know a whole lot about the company, but I'm going to assume that they are made in China as well too. So roll the dice. Yeah, that's a real good one here. So, but we'll see what goes on here. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this. It's, what stage of development this is in. I have no idea. We have absolutely, positively no idea. Oh, MHM, I would give anything for it to be 74. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. 95 here. And you know what? And the humidity is about the same. So yeah, it really, really peachy, really peachy right now. Okay. One of the things about, the main subject of the evening is wanting American companies to pick up the slack as far as drones are concerned. Well, there was a very interesting article out on Drone XL, and I want to go ahead and share that with you guys. As you know, the U.S. military is, pro U.S. drones here. U.S. drones stumble in Alaska, wake-up call for military tech. While fighter jets roared through the red flag exercise in Eielson Air Force Base, a choir of equally ambitious drone tests unfolded 20 miles away at Fort Wainwright. The Defense Innovation Unit, the Pentagon's tech trailblazers, teamed up with 4 companies to trial drones built to strike targets despite enemy jamming. Sounds like the kind of mission your Mavic 3 could nail with a firmware update, right? Not quite. Defense News reports one drone missed its target and smashed into a hill, while another overshot and went up in flames. The culprit, electronic warfare jamming, scrambled the drone's navigation, turning them into expensive lawn darts. Trent Emmaker, a DIU official, told Defense News it's too early to write off the effort, but admitted the results were not what I had hoped for. In other words, it's back to the lab and maybe someone's double checking the GPS settings here. Pentagon's drone ambitions meet reality. U.S. military has been drooling over drones since Ukraine showed how cheap UAVs can turn tanks into scrap metal. And they're talking about some things here. Blue UAS, a good idea, buried in paperwork. Pentagon's attempt to make drone buying as easy as grabbing a new controller. Vetted non-Chinese drones, no DJI, the troops can purchase without jumping through hoops. But endless compliance checks, even software updates need a security audit, turning it into a bureaucratic quagmire. For those of you tweaking the DJI Mavic 3 Pro in the garage, the story is close to home. The tech that makes your drone dodge trees is miles ahead of what crashed in Alaska. These military drones, they had your rig smarts. More importantly, this is a drones for good reality check. Drones can save lives, gather intel, and keep troops safe. Pentagon can get out of its own way. Imagine U.S. drones swarming like a fleet of angry phantoms, protecting allies without risking pilots. That's the goal, but drowning in paperwork, okay? The path forward, can the U.S. turn it around? Hegseth's memo pushes for active duty drone units and streamlined buying process, with the Defense Contract Management Agency possibly stepping in to scale Blue UAS. The Alaska data is being studied to fix jamming woes, but its timing's tricky. With adversaries finding advanced drones, the U.S. needs to move faster than the Mavic 4 in sport mode. The Artemis project isn't dead. It's a learning curve, but the Pentagon's got to stop treating drones like they're buying a new battleship. For now, keep flying your DJI rigs and check into Drone XL for updates. The Alaska flop is a reminder your backyard drone is already a star, even the Pentagon's still figuring it out. Got thoughts on U.S. drone struggles? Share them in the comments, okay? Well, yeah, and it really kind of touches home here. No, I'm sorry about that. Really touches home here with our main topic of the evening. You know, they're really kind of, they're pushing, you know, non-Chinese, U.S.-made drones here. And I think all of us will agree, you know, and I'm going to be getting to that point, but all of us will agree, we would all buy, if there were a U.S. company selling drones equivalent to or even better than DJI, none of us would hesitate to buy them if they're made in America. Okay. So, but there's going to be some more on that here in a little bit. We're going to get to that. Now, you know, one of the interesting things here, and I'm going to talk about this article. And I want to thank Richard for sending me a link to Sean from Air Photography, and then Drone XL had an article about it here. And this, in this, we're talking about, let me go ahead and get it up here on the screen. Okay, there's a company called SkyRover, which this is the first time I have ever heard of them. Have a drone. It's called the SkyRover X1, and it's yellow. I think that's the only color it comes in, and it's a mini drone. It's under 250 grams, but wow, it's really packed with quite a bit of features here. And number one, definitely watch Sean's video. He does Sean's one of my favorite drone reviewers out there. He tells you exactly like it is, gives you all the highlights, not a lot of fluff. He does a great job, and hopefully maybe one of these days we can snag him and have him as a guest on the show. It boasts a remarkable camera with a 1/1/3 inch sensor and an f1.7 aperture, 4K 60 frames per second recording, slow motion to 4K at 100 frames per second, and a flat color profile. The rotatable camera enables true vertical filming, perfect for social media content creators, and it uses the full sensor without cropping. The video quality is excellent and even offers a night mode for well-exposed footage in low light conditions. And Sean did that at night, and it looks really, really good here. And there's a still from that, but it does a fantastic job. SkyRover X1 features a robust transmission system called SkyBridge, rated for 15 kilometers. While you're unlikely to fly that far, this ensures a strong connection in environments with trees or heavy Wi-Fi interference. After 8 weeks of testing, I confirm its reliability here. Drone is packed with intelligent flight features that perform exceptionally well. Focus track includes point of interest, rotate around a set point, spotlight, locks the camera on a point while you fly an active track. More details in the upcoming video. Waypoint missions, set and save waypoints for automated flights. And it's very easy to set these, by the way. Panoramas, capture and switch panoramas directly in the stitch panoramas directly in the app. Hyperlapse, create dynamic time-lapse videos. Drone also supports return to home functionality, including fail-safe return. The battery is low or the connection is lost, landing accurately near its takeoff point. SkyRover X1's obstacle avoidance is active in cine and normal modes, but disabled in sport mode. We've heard that before. You can adjust settings to stop the drone or bypass obstacles. This is particularly helpful for new pilots or when flying sideways or backwards though precautions are still necessary. The drone comes with a comfortable compact controller with removable sticks and cables for USB-C and Lightning, ensuring compatibility with various phones. The beta app I tested has a simple, stable interface with critical information displayed clearly. Final version should even be more polished. With the exact packages are unclear. I expect a base kit with a drone, 1 battery, and the controller. The Fly Mode kit includes 3 batteries, a charging hub, and a carrying case, offering great value. The charging hub supports charging batteries directly in the drone or separately. The SkyRover X1 is an excellent choice for beginners or professionals needing a sub 250-gram drone for restricted areas. Its precise flight controls, feature-rich design, and high-quality video make it stand out. If you're interested, subscribe for more in-depth videos in the coming weeks, okay? One of the things I can tell you, and there's Ron. Let's get Ron in here. Hey, Ron, how are you, sir?
Bill, how are you today? Hello, folks
Very
out
good.
in the chat tonight. Good to see everybody here. Bill, we got some new drones to talk about tonight, huh?
Yes, we're talking about the SkyRover X1 here that Sean from Air Photography did a review on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm impressed.
Yep.
What's your take on it?
Well, yeah, I am impressed. I'm impressed with the Mini 4 Pro also. So, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna copy something, might as well copy the best, right, Bill?
Exactly. I think the only thing for me when I saw this, Ron, and I want to thank Richard because he's the one that first pointed this out to me, was the price on this, which is $785. And I think for me, for a non-brand drone or a brand that I haven't heard of or familiar with, I think that's a bit on the pricey side. Even though, you know, that's a Fly More kit and it comes with 2 batteries, a controller, and a carrying case, and all of that. That's all good. And Sean's video really piques my interest on it.
Before you move on from that pricing, it's considerably less than the Mini 4 Pro Fly More combo, like a couple $100 cheaper.
That's very true. And you know, I have no idea about this company, and I'm sorry, I think about taking a look at them. I'm assuming they're from China. I just would just rightly assume that.
Somebody in some video said that this drone's made in Malaysia, but the address of the company is in Shenzhen, China, of course.
Yeah. Okay. And that sounds a lot like the Spectre drones and Kahita drones, because they're made in Malaysia, but they have a Hong Kong address. So yeah. And yeah, so it's probably the same kind of deal here. But I mean, it's a good alternative. It's available. It's out on Amazon. I checked, and there's no problem with availability.
I believe Marcus has already ordered it. It's going to come next week.
Okay. You know, it's definitely something that's in my field of vision here, and I think that you know, you should probably consider this if you're looking for an alternative, a less expensive alternative. Number one, number two, get about the same quality as a Mini 4 Pro, and number three, availability. It's available right now.
Yeah, you may not be able to get a Mini 4 Pro if you order with this. I'm sure nobody at Customs is looking for a box called SkyRover, so I'm sure it's going to slip through.
Yeah, those will come through, and Amazon already has them in stock, so it's like next day delivery, pretty much what I saw when I went out there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you don't have a Mini 4 Pro, you want to get one, this is something to consider. Of course, Bill, with the Mini 5 Pro set to launch still on August 7th, on that date, this will become old technology in the blink of an eye when the Mini 5 Pro hits the market.
That's true. But you know, and we'll talk about that here in the segment coming up, you know, but the availability of the Mini 5 Pro is going to be obviously in question as well too, unless you buy from South Korea or drive up to Canada or such thing.
The same deal you do with the Mavic 4 Pro. Warren's pointing out in the chat that some of the reviewers are saying there's not no ND filters because it doesn't even have the ring to put it on, I'll call it, you know, and are cross compatible. It doesn't even look like it'll fit the current ND filters for the Mini 4 Pro. So, I mean, I know, you know, we make a big deal out of ND filters, Bill, but of the percentage of people that buy drones, how big do you think it is that people that use ND filters regularly? I think it's a small number.
I do too. You know, I know myself. I tried once, and I was at home, and I had a hard time getting it on. I mean, you know, and I knew what I was doing, and I had a hard time getting it on. And you know what? And I said, you know what? I want to be out there flying. I don't want to have to spend 10 minutes or so getting this filter on before I can go out and fly. I just want to get out there and do that. And if I need to make any adjustments, I could do it post-production, or, you know, using the app to make adjustments as far as, you know, frame rate and whatever I need to do.
Yeah,
with
when
that.
you're
So
flying high in the air, you don't see any motion blur. Anyways, Mike Mike Wright's pointing out that Jay's Tech Vault has a video out too. His video got released yesterday along with Sean's over there photography, and he goes more into pointing out the difference between the two than Sean did.
okay, so
And
that's thank you,
I'm
Mike.
not aware of this Jay's Tech Vault either, but he's a big channel. He had like 223,000 subscribers, so he's a big deal in the tech space. And he doesn't just do drones; he does other stuff too. Another thing he pointed out: the batteries, just like that little drone you had, the batteries are not they're not compatible with the DJI version of batteries. They somehow made the firmware that they won't work.
Okay, well, the firmware looks the app. I mean, from watching Sean's video, it looks a lot like the Fly app. It has the
does.
look, the feel for that. And one of the things that I did like about Sean's video, Ron, was it looks like waypoints are very easy to program. It can be a little touchy with, if you're trying to do waypoints with your Mavic 3 Pro or Air 3S, but it looks fairly straightforward here with this SkyRover. So be interesting to see how that pans out. One of the other things I want to do before we get to the main topic of the evening here is, our buddy Jasper just, he put out some information. Now I went out to X to get this directly here. The Osmo 360 box was spotted in Australian stores, predicting US and European prices starting at $500. This also confirmed all the specs I shared earlier here. And you can take a look here. I mean, this is just a price label. In Australia, it has 759 on it.
Yeah.
And then on the back, it has all the specifications on this as well. And these links are obviously, I got them posted in the
Facebook group.
In the Facebook group. Thank you. I have them posted in the Facebook group, so you guys are welcome to take a look at this. But the big question with that, Ron, I mean, this is imminent. This launch is imminent here.
I want to hold you up to Igor had a post this a few hours ago where some store in some other country looks like they may have a sale on Thursday, so this may be coming out sooner than we thought, Bill.
That's
Igor's latest rumors.
Now the original date was going to be the 29th. Am I right?
Yeah, next week sometime, right?
Next week, yeah. So if it's coming out a little early here, I think the $60,000 question here is this going to be available in the United States? Is this something, or is this going to be part of the whole shebang? And you have to get it in South Korea or off of eBay, somebody, or up in Canada or who knows where.
Yeah, I mean, our recent history is the Power 2000 was available in the U.S. We got the teaser, the emails, we could buy it on the website. But then a week later, they came out with a Power 1000 V2, and it wasn't available in the U.S. So a very confusing release pattern, Bill.
Yeah, we really, and that's one of the things we really don't know right now. And it's tossing a coin, and we don't know. We absolutely do not know at this point what's going to happen with that. We're just about guaranteed, with the mini. I'm sorry, I'm trying to type and talk here at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll take for a second while you're typing, Bill. So far, DJI they haven't not sold a camera in the US yet. Every camera release from DJI has been available in the US. So if this is not available, it'll be the first one.
That's a good point, Ron. That's a good point, and we're going to talk about that. Ron just made the point that if this camera, the Osmo 360, is not available in the US, this will be the first DJI camera that's not been available in the United States. So, we're gonna start with that. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, and I thought I had it posted up here.
But before you roll now, I see Captain Ray Kelly out there in the chat. I want to say congrats, Captain Ray. He had back surgery this morning. Apparently, everything went well, and he's at home now.
Well, that's good to hear, Ray. We're glad you're home as far as that's concerned. a couple of things that I wanted to talk about tonight. Okay. Now I had some chats with Vic Moss from Drone Advocacy Alliance, and great guy. Absolutely love him. And I wanted to share a couple of things. I had some back and forth with him. He still said, go ahead and, fill these forms out. Okay. Now there's several things here, and I hope this will come up on the screen. Good. It is. Tell U.S. Congress complete the drone security analysis. U.S. support the Drone Act, and that's don't worry about that one. U.S. demand clarity from Customs and Border Protection. These are the ones that you should fill out here. Okay, this one where it says tell Congress complete the drone security analysis, and this one demand clarity from Customs and Border Protections. And when you get in there, it's going to ask you for your name, address, and phone number. And based on your zip code, it puts in your United States congressman and also your 2 United States senators. And there's a pre-filled out form there. There's already verbiage there about that, but there's a place for you to add your own in here. Okay. And what I can tell you, it's limited to about 1,000 characters because I was over 1,000. But what you want to do with something like that is you want to, and here's what I would suggest: use ChatGPT or maybe Grok or something to help you form something and put something together that's thoughtful. Saying, you're a Part 107 SUAS pilot, you've been for X number of years, and you want to voice, you think, you've heard DJI has not had any security violations. Audits have shown that, and we would like to see proof of what you're talking about with this, and that this is going to cost thousands of jobs across the United States and cripple first responders, something along those lines. Okay.
Yes.
Now, one of the other things I want to say, and I had a little chat with Ron about this as well too. I know a lot of you are probably frustrated because you've done this and you're not seeing results. Okay, and I agree with you. You're not seeing results, but a lot of times, you gotta go out there and still do this anyway. And I think this is one of these instances where you guys need to go out there and drop your comments on this. I would definitely do that. Don't even hesitate, because it gets your opinion out there before your congressman and before your United States senators. And they do look at numbers there. Okay. And that's one thing that's important, is not necessarily what the responses are, but they look at the number of people responding from things like that. So the more that we have responding, the better, as far as that's concerned. So again, this is something that I really want to emphasize here. Now, I did talk to Vic as well too about the Section 232, and we're going to, I'm going to get to, there's an article. Let's see if I have that up here. Okay. Yeah, I do. Okay. And Vic wrote a response to that. Let me go ahead and get this up here. Okay. A really scathing response. He kind of really blasted this whole thing here. And if you guys get a chance, read it. It is posted out on the group and the Facebook page. And one of the things that I can tell you, there is no proven correlation between ready-to-fly drones made outside the United States and national security. Until we have proof of any security connections between commercial and recreational use of non-domestic drones and national security, this is a concern in search for an actual issue. For the non-defense use cases, there is no ongoing connection between civilian use and national security. Bullet points, not at all, and they won't. We don't have the ability to get raw materials we need. We don't have the mechanical and computer engineers to design the drones, even if we had manufacturing capabilities. We don't have the venture capitalists willing to invest in factories to produce consumer and prosumer drones. Over 90% of all commercial and 100% of all recreational drones are made in part or whole outside the United States. Virtually every component for recreational FPV drones are made in China here. Okay. We rely on Chinese companies. This is our own doing. We've been offshoring manufacturing for the last 5 decades. We can't wave a magic wand and make it all come back here. Okay. Well, when you get it, I mean, this is a very lengthy response that Vic has right here, and this is to the Section 232 response. And I highly encourage you guys to do that. Vic put a lot of time and effort into this. So please, if you get a chance, get out there and take a look at this. I think it's really good here. Now, I went out there and I'm going to see if I'm trying to see if there's a link here, and I don't think I have that link. But I went out there and I actually filled
if you find a link later on, you can post it in the Bill of the Drone Reviewer Facebook page.
Yeah, and I think I have it. You know what? I know where I do have it, and I think I'm going to bring it up because I want to share this with you guys. I think it's important here. One of the things that I was able to do was I actually filled out the form, and I want to kind of walk you guys through this because I think it's important here. Let me get to. There we go. Need to find the link here. Okay.
Hello, RJ Arrows.
And thank you for your patience with me here.
Want to say hello.
Okay.
Hello, CT Pirate.
And I should have had this up before, so my bad about that. Okay.
Drone.
Notice of request for public comments on Section 232 National Security Investigation of imports of unmanned aircraft systems and their parts and components. A notice by the Industry and Security Bureau on 7/16/2025 here, okay? And this tells you exactly what they're doing here. And right here, there's a section called public comments, all right? 103 comments have been received at regulations.gov, and one of those is mine right there, okay? And here's my comment listed right here. It actually has it listed here as well, too. Now, one of the things that they tell you, I'll click the submit a public comment here. All right, write a comment, commenter's checklist, public comments on federal regulations. Start typing here. You can attach files, video files, documents, whatever. Put your email address down here. So you're an individual, an organization, or anonymous here, okay? And I put down as an individual. I actually put my email address here and actually shared my comment. Now, if you're going to go out there and do this, one of the things that they do advise you, and I was real careful when I filled the form out, was not to include anything that would give away my identity in the comment section. For example, I have a show on Tuesday night called Rotor Talk Live, okay? I didn't say that. I said I have a popular weekly drone show seen by hundreds of people. Okay. I didn't get specific with that. And, you know, I've been a SUAS pilot for X number of years. I didn't say X number of years. I've been a SUAS pilot for several years. Okay. Don't be too specific when you're filling out this comment. That way people won't be able to have this come back to you. But I encourage you guys to go out there and fill this out. Okay. And when you do, again, use something like ChatGPT or maybe Grok to help you form something out there. And I can tell you in exactly what I said. You know, I'm an SUAS pilot, you know, for X number of years. I have a weekly show on YouTube. And one of the things that I think all of us have been asking is to see this proof that DJI drones are a national security threat to the United States. And that basically, and then I also talked about how, you know, we use drones for good, first responders. If DJI drones are taken away from us, it will cripple first responders. It will also cripple industry as well, too, because as you know, they're used in gas line inspections, cell phone tower inspections, power line inspections. My son-in-law uses it for in his business as well, underground utilities, on and on and on.
Roof inspections, real estate. There's so many applications that go to small businesses where small business could be just 1 or 2 people.
Exactly. And I also put in there the fact, we also know, and I know Joe America here, he's asked me a couple of times about drones for veterans. And there are some programs, and we talked about it, I think last week. I had an article from Drone DJ or Drone XL about getting drones for veterans and helping them find some purpose and in adjusting back to civilian life. And that's one of the things that has been a real benefit. And I said, you take all these things away, what's going to happen with these veterans as well too? So, I asked your consideration. And I also mentioned in there too, the Booz Allen Hamilton, the Big 8 CPA firm that's worldwide known, did an audit and did not find any security issues with DJI. And I also mentioned in there too that this really kind of harkens back to the fact is somebody wants to take over this business in the United States, namely a company like Skydio. So that's kind of my thoughts. That's what I put out there. That's what I got out there. And I wanted to share this with you guys. The link is in the description for the video tonight. Please go out there, put something out there. There's only 103 responses out there. And this needs to be completed by August 6th. So the clock is running on something like this. And I think, you want to do what I just talked about earlier from the Drone Advocacy Alliance as well too. But you definitely want to get out there and fill this out. And you know what? I'm okay with saying who I am on something like this. All right. Because, my comment isn't going to come back to me. People are not going to do that, but it is on record with them and with the federal government. And I'm fine with that. Okay. I don't think anybody should have a problem or be fearful of something like that. So I would definitely encourage you to go out there as an individual. And I think if you're doing that as an individual, it's going to have more of an impact, than you post it anonymously. So that's why I want to head out there and do that. And I would strongly encourage you guys to do that. What are your thoughts on this, Ron?
I want to maybe a little clarification. Is 232 here? Is that the new thing that the Commerce Department, like the Commerce Department, jumped into all this recently, and they want a evaluation or a tear down of the drone or whatever. But they're coming from the aspect that is bad for American business, not necessarily spying. They worry about how it affects the American drone industry. So to me, Bill, this is bad because now the drone can be banned on security issues or spying, and also it can be banned because it's a threat to the American economy because it hurts American drones. It's like just another agency coming at DJI from another direction. So to me, this isn't good at all.
No, it's not. And this was instigated, the Republican lawmakers said, let's get this going. We want this done. But it wasn't, and a lot of people were like, oh, this is good. No, put the brakes on here. As we talked about last week, this isn't good. Now, I'm going to go over an article that Russ put together. And this was from Drone XL. Russ from 51 Drones put out a video, a little bit of a dramatic thumbnail on here. Everything is fine. You see a nuclear explosion in the background. Okay. The United States government is conducting a security investigation in DJI and Autel drones to assess whether or not they impose a threat to national security. The outcome of this investigation seems predictable. It will likely align with government's objectives. Here's what this means for drone industry in the United States. All right. Security audit under the National Defense Authorization Act. Okay. If they pose a national security, comprehensive security audit of Chinese made drones determine if they pose a national security risk. This audit must be completed by the end of 2025. If it isn't, these drones will automatically be added to the federal covered entity list, effectively banning them from interacting with U.S. infrastructure and communication networks. All right. As of July 15th, a new investigation has been launched under Section 232. While related to NDAA's directive, this investigation is distinct. Section 232 grants the U.S. Department of Commerce, the President, the authority to impose restrictions on certain imported goods without congressional approval. This means swift action, penalties, restrictions, or tariffs can be implemented if the findings justify it. Why this approach? A true security audit is unlikely to uncover evidence sufficient to halt the use of DJI drones in the U.S., as there may be little to reveal. Instead, the government is framing the issue as an economic threat. Section 232 focuses on economic national security, evaluating whether imports like drones harm U.S. industries critical to national defense or the economy. For example, in 2018, the Trump administration used Section 232 to impose 25% tariffs on steel and 10% on aluminum, boosting U.S. manufacturing jobs, but raising steel prices, which impacted downstream industries. Impact on the drone industry. Over 75% of drones used in the U.S. are Chinese-made, primarily by DJI, with Autel holding a small share. No significant American competitor exists in the consumer, prosumer, or enterprise drone markets. The core question is whether Chinese drone imports are stifling the growth of U.S. drone manufacturing sector. The Department of Commerce is likely to conclude that they are, aligning with the political and economic push for domestic innovation. Based on trends in other industries, here are the likely outcomes. Increased tariffs. Higher tariffs on Chinese drones will make DJI products more expensive, narrowing the price gap with emerging American alternatives. Federal incentives, tax breaks, and subsidies will likely be offered to U.S. drone manufacturers to encourage a competitive domestic economy. Expanded restrictions. New federal guidelines may prohibit Chinese-made drones in sensitive sectors like law enforcement, energy infrastructure, and emergency services, forcing agencies to seek alternatives. Long-term implications. These measures will drive a gradual decoupling from Chinese drone manufacturers through tariffs, incentives, procurement policies, and regulations. The shift will likely enjoy bipartisan support as it promotes national security and American jobs here. Challenges for recreational use in small businesses. For recreational drone users and small business operators in fields like real estate, photography, or filmmaking, this transition offers little immediate benefit. Domestic drone production will likely prioritize industrial, defense, and enterprise markets where government contracts and subsidies are concentrated. No one in Washington is focused on developing a $699 camera drone for hobbyists. While DJI drones will remain available, they'll come at a higher cost, which stings for users like us. A call to American innovators and looking ahead. For now, keep flying your DJI drones. They're still excellent and will continue to work. Take care of them, as upgrading to new models will be costly. Ultimately, this shift will benefit consumers by fostering competition and choice. Having the option to try American-made drone in the next year or two is exciting, even if it's hard to match DJI's quality. Options are good, and competition drives innovation. Okay, and I'm going to kind of stop there, all right? Now, there are some parts here Russ is trying to explain, and I get it, and I understand that here. But I think one of the things, Ron, is it's going to take, I would estimate, and some experts I've seen, and I think even Vic Moss has said, it's going to take a minimum of probably 4 to 5 years if there was a U.S. company to step in and to try to replicate what DJI has on a basic entry level. It's going to take that kind of time, all right?
No matter how much funding they get.
Exactly, okay? And as we talked about maybe, I think a couple of weeks ago, and as I mentioned on Drone Nation, China has plenty of raw materials out there. A lot of these raw materials, it's the only spot where these are found in the world. And a lot of these are used to help make the chips and a lot of the electronic components that go into electronics like drones, okay, circuit boards and so forth, silica gel, that kind of thing. I'm not all privy to all that, but what I'm saying is it's a lot of this is only found in one place in China. All right, so this all has to get ramped up. This is all from scratch here, okay? Because if you look at Skydio drones, a lot of their components are made in China, all right? I remember they had a problem with batteries, and the batteries, where are they coming from? China. So, there's really no true American company out there building American-made drones, all right? And we've said, and I think Ron would agree with me, and I think all of you would agree with me, is if we could buy a drone equivalent to or maybe better than a DJI drone made in America, we'd all be throwing our money at them, okay? There wouldn't be any question about that. But there isn't. And for the foreseeable future, it's not going to be there. And the article sounds, and I'm going to part ways with Russ on here. This is not around the horizon. This is not going to happen in the next year or two. Okay. It's going to be a good 4 or 5 years before we would see something like this. So when I rang the alarm bell last week and said the sky is falling and told you, I'm crying wolf here, to go out and get your batteries, get your props, continue to do so. Okay. I know Adorama has Air 3S batteries available. Their list price $245. There's slim pickings out on Amazon on a lot of things, but Adorama seemed to have a pretty good stock of batteries. So did B&H as well too. So if you're looking for OEM batteries for your DJI
I was
drones,
able to get an OEM battery for the Air 3S on Amazon for $185 about 2-3 weeks ago.
that's good. And see, Ron, you hit it at the right time, because I went out there last week to look, and they're gone. You can't find them right now.
Yeah.
And the only place I could find it was Adorama at $245, which is list price. That's what's out on DJI site right now. Now, if you go out to DJI, everything you see is out of stock. Okay. Not available. You go out there, no matter what drone you click, everything, it's just not there. And a lot of that is because of the inspections happening right now. So
back to Russ's article and your point. Anything that comes early, Bill, 1 or 2 years, whatever, in the first 5 years, if American drone companies truly do pop, the only thing that's going to come is the most expensive drones, enterprise level drones, things at the top, top price tier. And I agree with Russ. Even 5-10 years down the road, no American drone company has any intention to make a $699 consumer drone for the kind of drone most of our subscribers want.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. They're going to be focused, and they're going to be geared toward first responders and military and maybe industry. Okay. They're not going to be geared
toward consumer. It'll be the highest end consumer. It'll be maybe for pro-type consumers. It won't be for the mini drone budget crowd. I don't know why they don't, well, I mean, they probably figure this out on their own. Why don't you just seed the bottom of the market to the Chinese drones? Why anything under $1,000, just let the Chinese make it, because they have no intention of making it anyways.
Exactly. Okay. Like, even let's say like Air 3S and below. Just give it to them. Just let them do that, because these drones are not a national security threat. All right. There's just, the whole point of that is moot. It's ridiculous. And no one has come back and said a word about that. And because there is nothing to say, because there is nothing as far as a national security threat. Okay. Are we going to see how big and tall Lucy is? Or Ron lives, or are we going to see how wide the Snake River Canyon is and how high it is from Marcus? Or am I going to show how many people are at the pool at my development on any given day? I mean, seriously, here, this is what we're talking about.
We were aboard the Chinese spy agency, the Tears, with that type of video, right?
Yeah, and it's something real interesting today. I read. I subscribe to. It's called the Epic Times, and they put out news. It's not really conservative based, but it's independent. Okay. And they have independent journalists out there. And one of the articles talked about how YouTube has just deleted thousands and thousands of accounts. And a lot of those were Chinese out there putting out Chinese propaganda. All right. And Russian as well, too, putting out Russian propaganda. But they went out there and they've deleted probably 20,000 accounts in the last few months. Wow. All right. So, that's a very real concern, and we're glad to see them doing things like that, because if you're looking for a national security threat, it's not going to come from a drone, okay? It's going to come from, I'm pointing over here to my laptop, all right? It's going to come from devices like that. It's going to come from your iPhone. It's going to come from my Android phone. These are where security threats are, okay? It's not your drone, all right, as far as that's concerned. And, we've been round and round and round about this here, and we're going to continue to talk about it because it bears repeating here. And, and at the end of this 30 days, which is August the 6th, as far as this Section 232 is concerned, it's pretty much going to be rubber stamped. And we kind of pretty much have a thought on what it's going to do. But, getting your voice out there, getting your opinion out there is still important. So I would highly encourage you to go out there and put something together. Use Grok, use ChatGPT. I used my own email address. I said I was an individual, not anonymous, because I think it's going to hold more weight. There's only 103 responses out there, guys. All right. And I know we can do better than that. All right. I really know it. And this is a call to action. All right. Because you don't know. It might actually go ahead and make a difference. All right. And I think one of the differences I think we might make is like Ron was saying, maybe drones $1,000 or under, they might not have tariffs on them. All right. So say like an Air 3S, Mini 5 Pro, the Neo, the Flip, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anything that's under $1,000, they're not going to have tariffs on them. Okay. So that they would be affordable. All right. And things that are over $1,000, they'd probably have tariffs on, like a Mavic 4 Pro kind of a thing. Okay. So, maybe it might make a difference with this. All right. It might not stop this, the whole thing, but it might make a difference as far as being able to get them at a list price, at a normal price, something that we can afford here without having to buy them from South Korea or Canada or wherever.
Right, we're paying marked up prices to do that, whether it's through tariff or just the seller markup, or we're paying higher prices anyways.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I was thinking about today as well too, okay, SkyRover, that's a good thing that we saw that, and that's a good thing that they've come out with something like this. And you probably want to watch that video that somebody dropped in the link, and Michael Wright talked about it as well too, to look at the comparison. It may be a good drone for you, okay? And something like that, they're probably not going to touch, all right? And I know
let me stop you right there. Though, if you buy that, don't buy the single battery. Buy the Flymore combo, because Bill, you learned with that little drone you had, the batteries sometimes are available, sometimes they're not. You better get your batteries right up front, not rely on getting them down the road, because SkyRover could be like some of these other DJI. What do they call that? Licensing companies. SkyRover may not be around in 6 months.
Exactly. Okay. So you would probably want to make sure that you have enough batteries for something like that. And the same thing right now, it's impossible to find any of the Spectre drones right now, the Air or the Mini. They've been out. I keep hearing from my contacts at Spectre that they're expecting more in stock any day now, but nothing has come out on Amazon. That's their only point of sale as far as that's concerned. But I'm lucky. I have 4 batteries for my Spectre Mini, and I have 3 batteries for my Spectre Air. So, and it's nice that the Air 3S charger works on the Spectre Air as well too. So that's a good thing. So I have that as far as that's concerned. And I know many of you commented, and I want to take a moment to talk about it. I have my Mavic 3 Pro listed for sale out there. Okay. And I've posted it in all the groups, and I'm going to hold off on getting it to eBay because I don't feel like getting a real slice of that being cut. And it's at a very decent, very reasonable price. Now, I went out to eBay, all right, for a Mavic 3 Pro, all right, with the type of equipment I have. I don't have a Flymore combo, but I'm giving, there's 3 batteries. I have a Lycus case that is going with it right now. What's real interesting is used Mavic 3 Pros right now, Ron, are starting at $4,000 and up on eBay, and they're selling for that, all right? And, that's kind of crazy. So if you're looking for a good deal, I'm selling mine for $2,500. I know this is a shameless plug here, but, it is a good deal. And, for me, and somebody asked me why I'm selling it. It's pure and simple. Here's the bottom line. My Air 3S does everything I want from a drone. Okay. Right. Don't get me wrong.
Even though it doesn't have the camera quality that the Mavic 3 Pro has, in every other sense, it's a more modern drone. It has more features.
Exactly. And that's why I made that decision. And, and I'm going to buy some more. When I get that money, one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to buy a couple more batteries for it. All right. And I'm going to keep them in the rotation, keep them charged, that kind of thing as well, too. So, and if you're interested in it, email me at Bill the Drone Reviewer. Don't message me. I'm not going to respond to messages, but email me. I'll take good care of you as far as that's concerned. So, and I take good care of my drones. Any of you who have purchased them off of me before, I take exceptional care of them. So, all right, moving on here. Just, kind of, and to kind of wrap things up as far as all this is concerned. All right. The reality is that a U.S. drone manufacturer being able to go out there and produce quality drones is at least 4 to 5 years away. Not like, that's where I'm going to part ways with Russ. He says 1 to 2 years. It's not going to happen. It's going to be at least 4 to 5 years before we see something like that. Okay. Even if they get all the money and, somebody gives them land to build on and all that kind of good stuff, It's just not there. They don't have all that tech ready. Okay. They need to get the people to do this as well too. All right. And that's another concern, is being able to come up and do a lot of this from scratch and building these components here in the United States. And I think that's probably key as far as that's concerned. And do me a favor, get out there, Drone Advocacy Alliance, use that link, get out there, fill out those 2 forms that I told you. Also, the Section 232 comment section, get out there and comment on that. It's going to make a difference. Make sure that you do that, all right? Because the more with the ground we gain, the better. And I'm going to close with this, all right? Last week, you guys know I have a ham radio channel, Ham Radio Basics. And what I did on there was I spent time and I talked about, and those of you, and I know Waypoint New England, you come on my show on Wednesdays too, and thank you for that. I appreciate that. There's an organization called the ARRL, and it's called the American Radio Relay League, all right? And basically what they are is they're like an NRA for ham radio enthusiasts. And one of the jobs that they do exceedingly abundantly well is this, okay? One of the things that really needs protected if you're a ham radio enthusiast is the bands and availability of the bands. Because what the FCC is licensed to and can sell bands, all right? Airspace, all right? And what these are. And what they do is, the ARRL is defending what we have. For example, I'll give you a real short primer here, okay? You know, there's a 10-meter band, there's a 40-meter band, and there's other ones too. And it protects these, okay? Because some of those borderline on like the 5G LTE bands that are used by cell phone carriers, all right? And they scream for getting more bandwidth, the cell phone carriers and other ones. And you know what? The FCC has said no. And they continue to do so because we have an advocate for us as ham radio enthusiasts, the ARRL. And that's why I'm hoping something like the Drone Advocacy Alliance can gain some ground, can gain some traction, can gain a foothold. And, you know, I would gladly pay $50 a year for a membership or something like that if they could be a lobbyist for us before Congress. Ron, we really don't have that right now. And that's what was my point, was on my show last week, was drones don't have that advocate that we do, like with ARRL. We don't have that. And that's something I think that's a lesson learned for all of us, is something that we should have done. And maybe going forward, if we can get the ship leveled and to a certain point, get out there and start something like this. And maybe maybe I can get Vic Moss on sometime and we can talk about something like this, because I think it's real important that we have some kind of agency represent us out there.
Well said.
And Waypoint,
Bill,
thank you.
I probably missed at the beginning of the show, but at the beginning of the show, did you talk about the Insta360 drones?
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
did. Right at the very beginning, we talked about that as well.
I actually find them more interesting than I do the SkyRover, because they don't look like they're cloning something else. They look like they're new technology. But here's the question, Bill. Do you think Insta360 will be able to get those drones released in the U.S. before the Chinese drone ban happens on the 23rd?
Wow. I don't know. That's a real good question, Ron. A real good question.
Because I thought when Igor posted stuff 2 days ago, I thought we'll never see this again. It's just rumor. But then he came back with even more information today. So now I'm believing this is something that's really going to happen, and maybe happen this year.
I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And you know, and my whole take on it is this, and this is kind of what I want to wrap things up with. Okay, number one, still go out there and buy batteries and props. Okay. Don't hesitate to do something like that. And if you can find and want to get a backup drone for, you know, if you have the money to get an Air 3S backup locally and not get it at a normal price, do it. And same like with like a Mini 4 Pro or a Mini 4K, you know, those kind of things. Neon Flip, have at it if you want to. But I'm thinking about drones that you'll be able to use. All right. Mavic 3 Pros are very hard to find right now. I mean, I'm just going to say it like it is, okay? And getting them at anywhere near retail is almost next to impossible. So that's why, you know, shameless plug, that's why mine is an exceptional deal. Mavic 4 Pro, don't even think about it. I wouldn't give it a second thought.
Well, Bill, I would. But you said people are paying $4,000 for Mavic 3 Pro. Well, if I was going to pay $4,000, I would just order a Mavic 4 Pro from Korea, because I'm going to have the same amount of support and care on the Mavic 4 as I had in the Mavic 3 Pro going forwards.
Yeah. It's exactly
As
right.
long as you order the Flymore where you get the three batteries. If I was paying $4,000, I would get the Mavic 4 Pro over a Mavic 3 Pro.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, prices are ridiculous, like on places like eBay or, so, and now I did see out there, and we had something in the chat about $26.69 for a Mavic 4 Pro, but that was just with the drone, the controller, and one battery. And that was it.
And that's the base controller too. That's not that.
That was the base controller. That wasn't the RC Pro 2. And that was through Newegg. And I know, I haven't used Newegg in a while. I know Marcus had made that comment as well too. And, so I can't vouch for that at all. But if that's something you're interested in, feel free to go up and go out and look that up. So, at this point, as far as like a Mavic 4 Pro is concerned, don't worry about it right now, because the drones that you have will do everything as well as, or maybe even better than that. The RC Pro 2, that's a nice thing to be able to have something like that, but it's not necessary for you to do what you want to do. Just that's my advice. You got any 2 cents?
No, I'm going to give you my take here. I haven't. Well, I did buy a drone this year. I bought that little V-Copter Mini. I haven't got yet. But Bill, I haven't really got a new drone this year, and I don't miss it at all. I'm flying this summer. I was flying the Avata 2 this morning. I flew the Air 2S today. It's not like I'm still flying. I'm not missing out on anything by not having any new drones this year. It doesn't. You think it's a big deal until you're actually here. It's not a big deal at all. I'm doing just fine without having any of the latest drones from DJI.
There you are. You heard it from Ron. I mean, it's, and I'm the same way. Would I like to have Mavic 4 Pro? Sure. Am I going to get one? No, I'm not going to get one because I don't need it. Okay. Like I said, and we talked about earlier, my Air 3S does everything that I wanted to do. Okay,
Bill, the Air 3S may be the best kind of consumer drone. I mean, pound for pound, price for price that we've ever seen.
I agree, Ron. I agree 100% with that. And if I can find one at a decent price, I may end up getting a second one because I like it so much.
Then you would have a backup, and you'd have have a whole bunch of batteries for them and whatever.
Yeah, I've already got like 4 batteries here. So
yeah, I can take you for years.
Yeah. I'm strongly considering that, and I'd still be ahead from the money I would make off the Mavic 3 Pro. So that's where we're at. So, all right, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate that. It was a little bit more of a positive uptone to tonight's show. And that's what I want to try to keep that. I am going to try to get Vic Moss on sometime so we can kind of explore where things are, because I think that'd be really good to talk to him. I know I checked with him. He's out of town on a business trip this week, so he's unavailable, but really want to see about getting him on the show. I think he'd be great to talk about with this. Guys, thank you all for a fantastic chat. As always, you guys nail it in the chat. Thank you all so much. As always, guys, remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.
Good night.